everyone, welcome back or welcome to my channel. My name is Savannah and welcome to Planet Coaster 2. Finally, I know I'm a little late. I'm a lot late. The game came out, 2 or 3 weeks ago now, and this is the first video that I've been able to put together. I do apologize. I'll get into why that is in just a minute, but considering that this is the very first speed build, very first project I'm putting together in Planet Coaster 2, I'm sure that some of you guys are new to my channel and new to me, so let me introduce myself a little bit more. Again, my name is Savannah. I started my channel in 2019, I think it was, in the middle of COVID when nobody had anything else better to do. And I've been covering creative, cozy games since then, primarily Planet Zoo, things like Jurassic World Evolution 2, Jurassic World Evolution, the first one, Paleo Pines, all sorts of stuff. So I really enjoy creative gaming. I really enjoy these kind of games where I get to just recreate pretty things. Now, in my real life, I guess I should say, I work full-time as a zookeeper, so Planet Zoo was right up my alley. I was very familiar with how zoos work, a lot of things about animal care, and so it was very easy for me to put exhibits together or think about what guests might want or animals might want. That's not the case here. I do really enjoy theme parks. I enjoy going to Disneyland. I live in San Diego, so Disneyland is my closest park, as well as Knott's Berry Farm. I have had a Disney pass for the last 10 years, and I go once every month or so. But other than that, I really don't have a whole lot of experience with definitely not building water slides or coasters or anything like that. So if you are new to the channel and you are someone that knows more about coaster building or slide building or theme park layout or anything like that, I would love to hear from you. The comment section down below is exactly for that. Just let me know any suggestions or feedback that you have. The only thing that I do ask is, I'm very aware that I'm learning and everything that I might do might not be perfect, so be nice. I am more than happy to listen and take into consideration feedback, but I'd love it if you were just nice about it. That would be great. Thanks. But anyway, getting into what we're building and why I'm so late. So I actually, unfortunately, had some construction going on in my house. My shower sprung a leak. We've had to kind of demo the entire bathroom, and because of that, my boyfriend and I took us and our pets and we stayed somewhere else for a few days. And unfortunately, while all of this was happening was the week that I did have early access to Planet Coaster 2. So thank you so much to Frontier for providing me a key. I just wasn't able to utilize it in the way that I wanted to at that time. Add on to that when I got back from that little mini vacation or escaping my house, I got really, really sick. So if I do sound a little nasally, a little congested, I'm getting over having pneumonia, and the kind of chest congestion and cough that goes along with that is hanging on for dear life. But I finally feel like I'm feeling well enough and sounding well enough to finally record a voiceover, which is why you're getting this video now. So there's some saying about, good things are worth the wait and stuff like that. So I hope that that's the case. With this very first project, as you might be able to tell by the thumbnail and the title, we are starting work on what will be SunSplash Water Park. This is going to be what I hope, a brightly colored, like Florida resort themed feeling park. I really wanted to, for my very first project, do something fun and do something that'll allow me to learn how to play the game, which actually might sound a little bit silly since I've been playing Planet Zoo and Planet Coaster before Planet Coaster 2 for years. So I'm very familiar with Frontier's mechanics, the way these games work. However, Planet Coaster 2 is still a brand new game. There are new mechanics. This does not work exactly like Planet Zoo or exactly like Planet Coaster. There's new pieces, the pathing is different, water slides are all brand new. So I'm just trying to be nice to myself and allow myself to learn a brand new game rather than expecting myself to come out and give you this great, grand, super realistic looking, perfect theme park out of the gate, because I don't think that that's realistic for me, and it kind of put me into a bit of a creative slump, as well as feeling so bad about being late with my content. It really was putting up some roadblocks for me actually getting something built and put together. So SunSplash Water Park decided to start with a water park, of course, because the slides and the pools, all of that is brand new to Planet Coaster 2, and it's really what I wanted to get into and explore and see how they work and play with the new things, right? So what we're putting together here, I think I ended up calling it like Sunshine Twist or something like that. I know there's a lot of like sun in the name, but again, we're going for like tropical Florida, brightly colored resort type theming. The thing that I'm thinking of in my head is I've actually gone to, I think it's the Central Florida Zoo? No, it's the Tampa at Lowry Park Zoo. One of those zoos in Florida that I've been to was very brightly colored in their exhibit design and all that, and that's kind of what I was picturing in my head. I actually did find this reference picture that I'm going off of for this build on Pinterest, and I don't really know where it's from, but it looks pretty close to what I'm building here. I wasn't trying to go for like a one-to-one exact recreation, but as I learn the game, I find it really helpful to find a reference picture and stick pretty close to it, and that way I can focus on learning what the pieces are and the mechanics and all that fun stuff. So this Sunshine Twist water slide is meant to be more of a kiddie water slide. This will be more towards the front of the park. It's going to let off into a little pool that has a lot of waiting space. It's not going to be a very deep or big pool. So this is meant to be more of like a children's area. And we'll be building slightly bigger water slides and rides further into the park. I think I do want to incorporate some flat rides as well and not have everything be a water slide or a pool. Maybe implementing a little bit of a lazy river because I love those. But that's the idea for the park. Now, usually I do start off all my projects with an entrance area, and that's obviously not the case here. This slide is the very first thing that I'm building for SunSplash Water Park, and it's just because that's where my creativity was. That's where my inspiration was. And so I just decided to get in and, again, be nice to myself and build exactly what I want to build or what I feel like building. Now, in this build, I found it really easy to put stuff together, and it ended up coming together almost exactly as I wanted it to. But of course, Planet Coaster 2, as I'm sure that you've seen if you follow other creators, is not without its flaws. Don't get me wrong, I still love the game. I'm having a blast. There are some things that Frontier has already decided to fix or already put out that they're going to fix, and I'm very appreciative of that. One of the things that I really struggled with in this build is that the supports for the flume platform, I can't change their color. They're black. So I actually wanted them to be gone altogether, and I wanted to completely create a custom support for that platform where the slides connect to. But that's not possible either. You have to have those supports, and they are not recolorable. So as you'll see later in the video, I've actually already made the covers for them. But I was trying to figure out if there was a way that I could get them to go away, or I could just recolor them on my own. But there isn't. So I end up putting those covers back on them and just making it match the theming and the coloring for the slide altogether. This whole structure is very like lifeguard tower-y, so that's kind of what I was envisioning in my head. Again, going off of the reference picture, but that's pretty much what it is, I believe. So we're building like the little shack at the top here that'll go on top of it. I was trying to get away with using normal roofs But one of the other things that makes me a little sad in the game is that I don't really like some of the roof sets that are there. I end up creating a completely custom roof for this one, which I'm really happy with how it comes out. But just because I needed it a different size and I wanted it to look a little bit different. So I'm playing with it here, and I'm trying to get away with not having 1,000 pieces in my very first build, but I end up implementing that custom roof here because I think it just looks a whole lot better. Using these bright colors, this blue and yellow, this is actually very different for me as well. If you watched some of my Planet Zoo content, I do tend to build like in neutral and naturalistic colors. I just find that that's what I'm drawn to in my normal life. Like that's what's in my house and that's the way I dress. And I don't do a whole lot with bright colors. So it was a little bit fun for me to kind of step out of my comfort zone just a little bit and do all these bright colors. Now I will say doing these custom roofs with these art pieces, the scaling. Oh my gosh, the scaling. It's not perfect, but it's pretty darn good, and it really makes a lot of things possible. So I am having a lot of fun being able to scale pieces up and down. As you can see here, I'm going to pick a couple pieces and then scale them all the way down and make them very small, and then that's how I end up making this roof. It really allows you to kind of fill in like the corner pieces where you wouldn't have something small enough. I'm still kind of going through and learning what pieces are my favorite, right? I haven't really found my go-to, like gonna use for every build piece just yet. These wood planks that I'm using are they're just the plain wood planks. Very happy to have them in the game, but being able to scale is really good. I'm very excited that that's in the game. Now, because this park is meant to be like a tropical Florida style resort park, I did pick the tropical map. There's only like 3 or 4 different maps that you can choose from right now. So this is the tropical one. I really like it. It's very pretty. I like all the trees and all the backdrop and everything. Frontier did a good job with the maps where some of them have, or I should say they have some like terrain and trees, and they're not just big flat open squares. So I do really like that about all of the maps that are included with Planet Coaster 2. However, being on the tropical map did prove just a little bit difficult because of the rain. Oh my goodness, the rain. Now, Frontier has already come out and said that they are going to be adjusting this come an update that's coming out in December. So next month, we don't have too much longer to wait. They are going to be adding the ability to turn off the weather in sandbox mode, and I can't wait for that. I did have to wait a lot to get like my end screenshots for the thumbnail, for some end kind of B-roll footage just to show the slide off, and then a lot of the building come towards the end of the video will be in rain, unfortunately. So I'm very excited to be able to turn that off, but as of right now, that's why there's going to be so much rain in the video. Now, we've moved on. There was a quick cut. Overall, this build took me about 4.5 hours. Not in one sitting. I did build this in a couple different sittings, but total, I had about 4.5 hours worth of footage. So I've obviously sped that up quite a bit, but I did cut out just a little bit of stuff that like I put down the pathing and I changed like the terrain paint. I got the pool all situated, stuff like that. So now we're moving on to landscaping around the slide. I am very happy with the amount of landscaping and plants and trees that are included. However, some of their animations, especially with the wind, are quite strange. It's a little weird. Like my palm trees, like the trunks of them kind of like pulse. Like it's really strange. It's very weird. I'm not quite sure if it is something on Frontier's radar that they're going to be adjusting or fixing, but you might see in like the end footage what I'm talking about. It's a little hard to explain, but it is quite weird. It's not very natural looking, so it's a little strange. But as we are in a tropical park, that's kind of what I'm trying to do with the landscaping, using a lot of the tropical plants, but also bringing in some of that color with, I think it's oh goodness, now I totally forget. The red plant is like a maple plant, I think. I forget what it's called, but bringing in some flowers, bringing in some different colors other than green. I will fully admit, whereas in Planet Zoo, I didn't have too difficult of a time landscaping because a lot of exhibits for animals are very natural, right? They're not very manicured or purposeful. I mean, they're purposeful, but they're meant to be natural looking to mimic the animal's environment. Now, a lot of landscaping in theme parks is going to be very purposeful, very manicured, and I feel like it is something I am going to have to really work on in terms of my skill level. Moving on, I am not done with landscaping, but I have a bit of an all-over brain, and so I tend to work on what I find interesting in that moment. And so plants stopped being interesting to me, and I decided to put some like lawn furniture out here. Not lawn furniture, but like poolside furniture. So I did use some of the in-game like lounging chairs. The guests will actually sit on them. None of them did when I watched them, but they are supposed to sit on them. I turned one of the umbrellas upside down, as you can see, to mimic like a little side table for a lot of these chairs for guests to put their things on. I do end up taking some art pieces and making a little like implied soda can. I did a red one and a green one. It's supposed to be like Coke and Sprite. Very, very small and very, very kind of useless detail. You can see it here. I'm going to end up using the pole, and this is where the scaling really comes in handy because I can use the very same piece, one slightly bigger than the other, and it looks like a soda can, kind of, sort of, if you like, you know, squint and don't look at it too closely, but that's what it's supposed to be. The rectangles on the ground are supposed to be like little towels that people have laid out, and then I'm just taking some of these floaties and kind of dispersing them through the seating a little bit, just to kind of show, like, you know, people would have drug them into the pool and then out of the pool and kind of left them all over the place. We have some of those beach balls, one in the water. I do end up making like a little container or a little rack for a lot of these pool toys, which I'm really happy about. Some of this stuff I am going to try to put on the workshop. I haven't even opened the workshop or attempted to play around with it at all. But it is my intention to get some of this stuff up there so that you can use it as well. Now, looking into the future, or talking about the future of SunSplash Water Park, I obviously started with the water slides here. We still do need an entrance. It's my intention to do like a small parking lot. This isn't meant to be like a huge, massive park. Now that I kind of put the pool down and the path decking around, I am kind of locked into keeping this build right here. So I am going to have to expand off of this. But this slide is meant to be fairly close to the entrance, so it should work out fairly well. But that's going forward. I think next I may try to work on an entrance plaza. I have found a reference picture that I really do like. But then other than that, like something like a lazy river, maybe a couple flat rides, I'm really trying to leave it open for what I feel like building. Oh, this is we've just gotten to it now. This is like the little pool rack that I was talking about, or the little pool toy rack. Just building something to put all of the beach balls and the floaties in. These are just kind of going to be around for people to use and grab. The next thing that I am building, and I did completely forget about this, is I did start on some changing rooms. I was intended to use them in this video and include everything. However, once I got to 4.5 hours worth of building, and I knew that this video, even with some cuts, was going to be about 25-30 minutes long, I really wanted to make sure I didn't go over that. Oh, here comes the rain. The rain doesn't stop from here on out. But I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to be creating like an hour-long episode. So I ended up splitting it up, and the next episode we will probably see the changing rooms and maybe the start of an entrance plaza, excuse me. The very last thing that I'm doing here is a sign, because one thing I have to get used to in my brain is that rides have names and they have signage. And so I'm putting together a little sign that says Sunshine Twist, that's going to, like, you know, announce this slide and what it's called. So I'm mainly using art pieces here. One of the other things that I absolutely love is the fact that we can take text and just have text and just type things out. It's not attached to a sign. You can add the text wherever you'd like. I think it's really, really useful and such a good addition to the game. So that's what you can see me using here, is the text that says Sunshine Twist on it is just the text, and I'm going to put it over the top of these art pieces. I liked the shape of this sign, but I didn't like how deep the frame was around it, or how deep the sign was in the middle of the framing. So I'm just using the art pieces to kind of bring it up a little bit and make it a little bit flatter, I guess. But yeah, it's meant to be like sun, palm trees, resort style, as I've mentioned before. So this is my first attempt at a little ride sign. Be nice, because I know it's not perfect and I know it's not the best thing ever, but I'm trying. So I also ended up incorporating some signs for like what would be pool rules. That was really difficult to say. Pool rules, or a description of the slide. I end up putting it next to this sign, and it is also next to both slides, like in the actual pool area. That was just built, excuse me, by using some of the surfboard pieces and then the gutters, the tried and true gutter pieces. Those are what I'm using for some like implied text. But yeah, that's the very last thing that we're going to work on. I believe there's only a few more minutes left in the video, and then I'll show you some beautiful little B-roll, just some shots of the actual slide. My guests did actually end up going down the slide. I know there have been creators that are having problems with their guests not actually using what they're building, which is sad. You know, we want to build stuff, we want to see our guests actually use them. But mine did go down the slides, more so the yellow one than the green one. And they do turn around quite often, but I did get a handful of people actually utilizing the slide. I did record POVs for them. They're not all that great. I haven't quite decided if I'm going to include them in this video. Probably not. I'll probably release them as like little shorts, just like, you know, few second little clips of the POVs, but they're not perfect. I think Frontier still has a lot to work on as far as slide POVs go, but I'll put them together just so you can see them. We're lining the kind of entrance walkway with some fencing really quick, and then the very last ask I have from you is that, just as I am brand new to the kind of coaster theme park community, I have really been enjoying finding new creators myself to watch. So if you have any suggestions on good Planet Coaster 2 creators to watch, I already watch and am friends with people like Beyond Drew TV and Jonty over at Geekism, Mass Bandit, Estan Wolf. Absolutely love all of those creators, and I know I am missing a few, but I would love to find maybe some smaller creators or newer creators. I also do follow Plastic Swans and Leaf and a whole bunch of people. But anyway, my point being is that I would love suggestions on more content to watch, specifically Planet Coaster 2, content. so that I can continue to get inspired. I work really well watching other people. It really helps my creative process. So I would love that. Leave that down in the comment section below. And again, if you're new to my channel for Planet Coaster 2, thanks so much for being here. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on your way out. Comment, say hello, and leave a like. All that stuff really does help me out, and I greatly do appreciate it. But until next time, enjoy the last few shots of Sunshine Twist, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye!